Hello. Hi. It's me, Jennifer Stenhouse from Little Metal Boxes, and we're doing tool tips tonight on dapping punches. So, the dapping punches. And Julie is going to be joining me here, so let me jump in here with me, and we're going to talk to you about tips and tricks for dapping punches tonight. There we go. Yeah. Hey there.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Awesome. So, I just
sorry. Trying to get my audio figured out. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Yeah. Hi. Welcome. It's Julia from Little Metal Boxes. Hi.
Hello.
I wish I could be there with you, but busy day at work. And Simon says hi. There he is.
Hello, Simon. Simon the Wonder Dog.
Dog. He's being a good dog today.
He is. He's always a good dog.
Always a good dog. He's a good studio dog. He's the best. There he is.
Oh, Simon.
So, dapping punches. Let's talk about some good tips and tricks for dapping punches. So, we're going to be doing a demystifying forming for jewelry coming up in the new year. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Julie and I both are going to be teaching a couple of classes following that using different forming techniques. And this set I found on Amazon for a little over $100, Julia. It was not too terribly expensive.
Which is really flippin' impressive because the one I have, like this set that I have, which I made the stand, they don't even fit down in here anymore. This was like $200 and they're actually not that great. So but that was over 20 years ago. So y'all who are just starting out buying tools, you are in so much better shape now because you can get much nicer ones for less money.
And this one's great because it has a wee tiny anvil, which is great. It's got the dapping die. It's got a swage block with.
I know you got so much with this. You've got like two swage blocks and a dapping block, and then not just the round punches, but like these other cylindrical punches. All I have are the punches. I can't even get it out. All I have are a set of these, just the round punches. No swage blocks, no dapping blocks, no other stuff. And I had to make my own stand, which I didn't do very well because they don't fit in it very well anymore. I know, oval. I mean, my God, it's
so. And this one, I found this on Amazon. Like I said, it was a little over $100, but I mean, you can spend $29 on a cheap little dapping punch and die set, and you could spend $15 on a little wooden one and some wooden.
Actually, the wooden ones are great.
They are,
and you can make your own wooden dapping punches.
Yes. So the beauty to the basic wooden dapping die and punches is that if you're working with texture, if you're working with something that's a little more delicate, this is a must. If you're trying to do some,
and they're cheap, right?
Yeah.
You can test out this whole dapping thing for like $20.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and these are easy to make or change, and if you need to.
I made these. There's an article on my website on shoeboxstudio.com. Just go to shoeboxstudio.com and look for dapping. These are cabinet knobs.
I was about to say that. Yes, cabinet knobs and dowels. Yeah.
Cabinet knobs. And this was an oval cabinet knob.
Yes.
And then you buy these dowel screws that have that screw on both ends, and you have a piece of dowel. I mean, it is the most satisfying thing to make these because you just screw them together and they just like boop, and they go right.
And
I love it.
You can buy little balls and things like that from model and hobby shops. You can buy balls in all kinds of different shapes.
Yeah. In different sizes. I mean, cabinet knobs come in all different sizes.
Yeah.
So this was like an old broom handle that I cut up into pieces, and you can see it's all cracked and everything. And then I just put all these different, guys on here. Yeah. So it's. I mean, really, you can make a thing.
Yeah.
Really easily.
Too. Originally, the wooden dapping blocks and punches were just made out of, whatever you had around you.
Whatever hardwood you had, yeah.
A stump, an end grain of a stump. And those are for dapping punches. But
Just make a shallow depression in the end grain of a stump. Betty, Helen Longy, and Cynthia Ide were all about that.
yep, yep. And having a good stump or a good block like that can be really good. Just a good piece of hard wood sometimes is nice. But little sandbags can be really helpful, and it's easy to make a sandbag, or it's sand in a bag, so not too difficult.
You know what my favorite sandbag tip is?
It's a turtle.
That one's lovely. That one's charming. That was one of the ones Bill Dawson made, right?
It is.
Yes. Shout out to Bill Dawson and his amazing chasing punches and other tools, and his charming little, sandbag. Do you want to hear my super cheap sandbag tip?
Tell me. I know you've got one. I've seen it.
Okay, so you buy a rubber hot water bottle.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Right? And then you go to the hardware store and you buy play sand because it's clean. And you can buy it in 2 or 3 pound bags, right? Or I think I bought a 5 pound bag.
You can get a smaller amount from the pet shop too, because they use them.
Okay, sure. Because you just need a little bit of sand for the terrarium.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't need to have colors in it or anything, people, because you're not going to see it. And then you just take a funnel and you fill the hot water bottle with sand. And there you go.
Yeah.
It's perfect. And it already has a rubber surface. Some of them even come with a little felt cover, which is even great. Yeah. I have one that's made, but I didn't dig it out.
You can get little pieces of leather from Joann Fabrics, And
yes. If you're handy, you could make your own. And, but the hot water bottles are cheap.
Yeah.
And you just pour the sand in, and then you're good to go. And it even has the little neck that you can hold on to it. I wasn't even thinking about the sandbag thing, or I would have grabbed out the one that I have that I made so that my students could use it. It's wonderful. And with a wooden dapping punch like this, you can actually do a lot. You can form a lot.
I have used all kinds of other stuff too, besides the wooden knobs. Those are great. But you can make one in whatever shape you need, just from any size dowel that you've got.
Yep.
That'd be good. The end of old paintbrushes, if you need something small, cut that off. The brush is done. Readapt it for something else. Chopsticks, if they're bamboo, are always good. And one of my favorites, the Sharpie. I've used a Sharpie marker for a punch. I don't know how many times. But,
it's like dental floss. When I was in the Peace Corps, we used dental floss to fix everything, right? Your backpack, your whatever. And Sharpie markers, they're like that. You have to have them.
Well, and the other thing is where'd it go? Old cutting boards can be great because you can cut them into whatever shape you want for a dapping punch.
And they're usually laminated and
good for ovals. But old toothbrushes are great too. So because you can make a nice little punch with just a good hard plastic like that. So those are always good.
Yeah, you don't actually need metal to form metal. You can do it with wood and plastic.
Yeah.
But if you want metal, you should get one of the sets Jennifer has, because this one that I have, it's not the best.
And you can spend anywhere from $30 to $3,000 on on a dapping set. And if you're just starting out, and even if you're not just starting out, having something that's really versatile like this one is really good. And if you're only using it occasionally, don't go spending thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars on a dapping set that may not be something you're going to use all the time. Find one that's really affordable, and there's a lot of them on Amazon that are not too terribly expensive. This set, like I said, was about $120, and they're bright mirror finish. They've been absolutely beautiful.
Unlike mine, I don't know if you can see this, but I got some rust on mine too.
Let me tell you how to fix it, Julia.
Yeah,
this
is pretty sad.
There's a couple of things.
Pretty sad.
Oh dear Lord. There is a marvelous restoring liquid that is natural. You can put your hands in it, and you can get it at most hardware stores that removes rust.
Okay.
And you put it in a bucket, and you just put your steel in there, and it just etches. It's like rust safe or something like that. So, but you can get that at the hardware stores, and it's a really good rust remover. And you can just leave it in there overnight for stuff that really needs a good hearty cleaning.
Okay.
So for bench blocks, for your bench pins, for not the wood part, but the anvil part. any of that you need to remove the rust on. It's a great way to do that. It's safely.
Does it have water in it? Because I've used wood bleach before, but the problem with that is that because you have to mix it with water, you have to like soak your steel, and then you have to take it out and you have to dry it off immediately, right? Like with a heat gun or something, because otherwise it starts to rust again. Because guess what? The wood bleach is mixed with water.
Yeah. This I wouldn't say it's mixed with water, but it is a what is it called? It is there it is, vapor rust.
Vapor rust. Okay.
Sorry, evapor rust. And
because it evaporates the rust, right?
And you can get it from like Harbor Freight and any of your local hardware stores. Go away.
Ace Hardware has it, which is my go-to hardware store.
And it's like, here it is, evapor rust. So not a sponsor.
Oh, okay.
But this is really good for, you can reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. So
okay, that's awesome.
Bad. But yeah, you want to rinse stuff off and dry it really well. The other thing you can use is something like navel jelly, sandpaper, to get rid of that stuff.
Yeah, I was really wanting to avoid the sandpaper. Yeah. I know that's an option, but I really was like, I'm lazy.
It's really hard on things that are not fat. So you got something wrong like that. However, two things that I would definitely say about maintaining these. One, I have a dust cover for them that I made just out of some old canvas that I've got that covers everything up and keeps them dust free.
Mine probably should have had that.
So it makes a difference because, there's so much abrasive in our studio that it's, it settles on stuff like this. And when you smack it against something else that's metal, it's going to embed in these pieces. So
yeah, which definitely is a thing. In my case, it was just rust, I think. I mean, it was just, let them get damp.
Other thing that I would warn you to be really careful about too when you're working with the steel on steel is make sure that you're using a lot of people will find a dapping punch and it's like, oh, it fits right in there, it's perfect. That's not what you want. You have to have enough room for the punch inside the hole, inside the die. Because if it's not quite big enough, and it may look like it's like a perfect fit, it may be resting on the rim, and when you hit it, it's gonna scar your dapping punch. And it's
all the dapping tools, all the dapping punches at Pratt have a little circle around them where somebody has pounded them into a too small hole.
Yeah, go to any school and you'll see that. The thing you always want to do, like this is a good fit for this, you always want to make sure that you've got not just room for the punch, but room for
the metal.
The metal's going to go in there too.
It's going in there as well, yes.
Yeah, so always make sure you do that, and that'll definitely extend the life of these things. The other thing that I like to do is to keep these maintained and nice and shiny, because this is like a planishing hammer, so is that. So you want to make sure if you're compressing metal like with a hammer that it has a nice mirror finish. You want to have that on these too. And to maintain it, I like this. Or some sort of paste polish like this works really well. And I just did it on one of the big ones, and it looks like an Escher ball.
Nice.
Isn't it beautiful? Sexy.
Right. Like, keep them polished. I mean, I need to do that. If I just polish these, that would probably take some of the rust off.
Oh, yeah. But I would definitely use some rust remover. And
but yeah, this one in particular is really bad. I don't know if you can see it, but
and I always
pretty brown.
I always have a little bit of soft suede and just
smart
chamois.
Yeah.
The automotive section of the hardware store. And I'll usually just rub that on, make sure it sort of dries for a second, just let it sort of sit for a minute, and then buff it off with the chamois cloth. And that will give you that really nice mirror finish.
Delicious. Which you want, right? You want all these tools that are touching the metal to be, yes, I know, I can see myself in your dapping punch.
There you are. Look at that.
Hi, hello, me. Hello, little mini me in Jennifer's dapping punch.
There's nothing, seriously, there's nothing sexier than, like, mirror finishes on.
There's nothing sexier than shiny tools. Than tools that have been well cared for. And I feel bad about my poor tools over here because they've been abused and rode hard and put away wet. Obviously, because they're rusting.
You can always borrow some of my flips if you'd like. Or maybe I'll get you some for Christmas. Maybe it'll be in your stocking for Christmas. The other thing that I would definitely say, because I actually have seen this on Instagram a lot in the last couple of days, is people using dapping punches with a steel hammer. And
Ooh.
no. So anytime you want to make sure you've got that nice bevel on the back like that. These are relatively new, so they have not been beat up a whole lot. But over time, with the compression, because this is a little softer, this will start to mushroom out, and you want to redress that so that you can maintain that nice.
I don't know if you can see it, but this one is mushroomed a bit, and so that's why it isn't fitting into the slot in the hole that I made.
Right. And you want to be careful that you take those off. So just filing and sanding that down and cleaning it up will help quite a lot. But you don't want that stuff to break off and
if it gets bad, yes, it can mushroom over to the point where it'll chip off, and then that's dangerous.
So you do want to be careful about that, but keep them nice and dressed on the end, and use a nice heavy brass hammer.
Or
you can use the plastic hammers. Those work great if it's weighted, especially. But
this one is a dead blow mallet, so it has steel shot in it, so it has more weight. This was actually a used hammer I picked up at Hardwick's. Oh yeah, like $1.50.
But you can see the brass and hammers will take instead of your tool, and these are great for like disc cutters as well because they're nice and heavy, and it's like one shot, just boom. This is a 2-pound hammer. So, but
something else I'll say apropos of hammers. Is there are some little shorty hammers that have little short handles that have brass heads, and those are actually really good for stamping or dapping or things like this, because a long hammer like this, you don't actually want to be so far away, and you have more control, and you'll enjoy the process more because it's not like much weight to pick up if you are able to choke up on it. Like this one, I have to choke up on it further. So if you have one with a short handle, it's nicer.
Sometimes you want a little more finesse when you're dapping out, and a shorter handle can be a little bit better for
Give you that, especially if you've got a hammer, especially like those brass ones. Like the one you have has a relatively short handle, which is nice because you've got so much weight on the head that having a really long handle just makes it a lot of extra work. It's like hammering man, with the stamp.
No, it should not be, because these are fulcrums. So this should, when it hits,
you can drop it and then let it bounce back. Yes.
Yeah. So but
most of us are not that good.
If you're muscling through something with your hammer or choking up on it too much, and you're trying to get a little finesse, that's one thing. But if you're trying to power through something, always use the handle, because
that's true.
It's the weight of the hammer that does it.
Right. You're trying to push the hammer through the punch with your own muscle doesn't actually work. You want to use the head of the hammer.
And that's seriously, it's good if you're trying to finesse something, but use the weight of the hammer for what it does best, right?
That's true. That's true.
So the other thing that you can use is something like the ball on a ball peen hammer. Makes a great little dapping punch, right? Because you can do a nice little semicircle. And in that case, I'll use my leather or rawhide or plastic mallet, brass mallet for that, so it doesn't mess up the face of my ball peen hammer.
But if your ball peen is steel, you can use your brass hammer on that.
But brass, plastic, leather, any of those.
Right. Yeah, so, people forget that hammers, you're hitting things with them. It's totally fine to hold it stationary and hit it. Like, it's going to work just fine that way.
Yeah, exactly right.
Love that. That's one of the ways I used to form the spinner ring. That's one of the options for that.
Well, this set's really cool too, because it has the swage block.
I know that set is, I'm just like, it's so sexy. It has so many pieces.
And I love that it has the square pieces as well, because
even better.
Yeah, this has the corners and
nice
corner. So, it's
it's like a mini bending brake. Really, is what it is. Yeah. Without having to have, another, like a bending brake, which is for bending things. But with that, you can kind of use it as a mini bending brake and make, square tubing or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So, having a little set like this is great. Not everybody can afford that, but this is a really nice way to go. The knobs from the hardware store screwed onto a dowel are great. Using, you know, whatever you got around you is ancient technology.
These are the screws.
Oh
So
yeah,
see how these screws have screw on both ends,
right.
right? These are called dowel screws or
Oh,
dowel screws or
Rebecca.
cabinet screws.
Rebecca's
And
funny. She says, "Oh, how
how
dapper."
dapper. So they work super well for this because you can screw them into both the handle and the rod part because they don't have a head on either end.
Right,
So
right.
you can get them in any hardware store.
Those are fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
so keep an eye out for the Dapping Demystified class that's coming up after the first of the year.
Yes.
Not on the books yet, but it will be soon. We also have coming up in January the flex shaft class.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much you can do with your flex shaft. So I'll go for finishing
You
stuff.
can't dap with it.
Sanding.
You can't really dap with it, but you can do so many other things. Well, if you have a hammer handpiece, you can dap very tiny things with it.
Many things. Well,
but you can do a lot of other things.
So many possibilities. And for those of you that are getting flex shafts for Christmas, come with me on a journey and I will show you all the things it can do. And if you haven't got one yet and you're trying to decide on what you need, it's a great class for that too. But I go through a ton of attachments.
Take the class before, if you don't know what you need, take the class before you buy the flex shaft.
Right.
And the bits and all that stuff. Jennifer will demystify all of that for you. And you still have 30 days of access to the video. So you can come back after you've bought the tool and go through all her little exercises.
For all the classes. You have 30 days access to all the classes, which is
always. Right.
Also, too, we've got the wax carving class coming up. So we're going to be going over some wax carving techniques, making tools for that, talking about, kind of the history of that a little bit, and where to get things cast, and what works, doesn't, and kind of wax carving demystified. But the wax carving class is going to be starting in January too. And you
haven't run that one for a while, so
I have not.
That's probably going to fill up pretty quickly because I know you have some groupies. You have some wax carving groupies.
It usually does fill up pretty quick. It usually sells out pretty quick. So yeah, and that has not been on the books that long. So I would definitely, if you're interested in doing wax carving or figuring out what you can do, if you're wanting to do production stuff, that we talk about all that stuff too. So anyway, then you've got some classes coming up after the new year.
I do. I don't have my computer in here, so I can't really see. So you may be able to see. I know I'm doing Kambu, which is so much fun. I love doing Kambu. It's such a great way to add a pop of gold to your work. This is a little example that actually is a roll print combined with Kambu, and I will talk about that in the class. I love this because you can buy relatively inexpensive quantity of gold and then make it like boom, it really looks like gold. I'm also doing the Files Demystified class again. I think that one's coming up. People had asked for that, and so I'm.
Hey, Julia, when I sat in on that class, I was blown away. I've been doing this a long time, and there was so much more about files that I didn't know. That was freaking awesome.
It was fun doing the research for that and putting together the 9-page handout that you will get, which is all about the different kinds of files and what all the different sizing things mean and all that. Yeah.
It's great.
This is a fun class.
Let me see if I can find a little metal.
I know I'm doing Studio Sparks again, so I'm doing another iteration of Studio Sparks, and there are a bunch of people in that class already. So
there's only a couple of seats left for that. So
there are only a couple seats left for that, which is a fun. I really enjoy. It's like a jewelry support group, right? It's just fabulous, and it's really cool to see what people do. I think I'm doing. Am I doing etching again? I don't even remember.
Etch in the Bag's coming up much later in the month. But the thing that's coming up right after the first week of the new year is Sticks and Stones. So,
your class. Sorry. See, you can see the thing, and I can't. And that's such a great class. Your work. You've done so much cool stuff with these alternate materials. With glass and stones, of course, but also pearls and other kinds of things. It's really cool.
Glass, beads, hair, wood, teeth, bone. Yeah, you name it. A lot of found objects and stuff. And Queen Bee
because she signed up for Etching in the Bag. Oh, it's a fun class. Yeah.
but there are so many things about the found objects and natural objects and
Mhm.
working with plastics and working with stuff that you don't sometimes think about. One, how you can incorporate it in your work. You like the material, but you don't know what to do with it,
Right.
or cut it, and that kind of thing.
You're like, oh,
So,
this is super fragile. How do I deal with
yeah,
this? Right.
cut it,
Yeah.
glue it, sand it, polish it, all the things that you need to do for all those other materials. Things like cutting beads in half to make cabochons, and
I
working
know. Or like
stuff
taking
like
out,
that.
I have some broken china that I want to turn into some cabochons, you know?
Yeah. So china, bone china, found objects, beach glass, rocks, all that stuff. It's like bring it, because there are so many ways to be able to cold connect,
Hmm.
chemical bond, rivet, and join those pieces
There's a
together.
place for chemical bonding.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about joining those parts, the safety with those parts, how to cut it, how to join it, all that stuff. So that's what the Sticks and Stones class is going to be. It's it was really hard for me to sort of like sort out. I've had a lot of people over the years go, I want you to teach me to do what you do with all your found objects. And I'm like, good luck.
You need to start with printmaking,
Sure.
you need to have all of these 60 years of experience that
Really,
I have,
up in the house,
it's like,
building forts and cashing crawdads every day, and
right, exactly.
but there's so many materials out there. They're just amazing to work with, and but there are tricks and stuff to work with them.
There are
And
shortcuts. There are ways there are easy ways to do things and hard ways to do things. And
yes,
Jennifer
that's
will show
true.
you the easy way.
I've gone through all the hard things for you, so I
Yeah.
can simplify it for you a lot. But
It's
yeah,
like IKEA. You know how IKEA, there are those shortcuts that make you not have to go through the entire cabinet section when you are only looking for a night, like a bedside lamp.
like all I wanted was Swedish meatballs. That's all.
All I wanted was Swedish meatballs. All I wanted was a bath mat, right? And it's like you want those shortcuts that will help you not go through the furniture section.
Exactly.
Jennifer will show you where those are.
Well, we've got a bunch of stuff coming up, but this is a happy solstice to
I
everyone.
know.
I'm
Yes.
so glad. I look so forward to solstice every year. And I just wanted to say, yeah, happy solstice to everyone. This morning was the solstice, and we had a neighbor downstairs that for many years would put out this beautiful greenery spiral in our front yard, and then would do
Oh.
candle lighting in the spiral. And it was just,
Awesome.
and I miss her so much. So Odette, if you're out there watching, mwah, shout out to you. And
There,
yeah,
and the spiral, the garland, and the candle.
and it was just really lovely to do that, by myself, if I was home, or to do it with Odette and her family and friends. It was always just a really beautiful experience. Yeah, this is it's the longest night of the year, the darkest night of the year. And,
Yeah, but it's also, you take your long snooze, your long winter hibernating snooze, and then you wake up and the days start to get longer.
that's it. So brighter
Mhm.
days ahead. That's exactly
Mhm.
what I was going to say. I know.
I was out in my garden today, and I was cutting back the old foliage from my hellebores, and the hellebores already have like little shoots coming up with their new flowers. The Lenten roses are also called hellebores, another name for them. So
Yeah.
I was like, good, I got to get all that vegetation off so that the flowers can come up. So it's a good time for like clearing away the compost.
The thing that I want to say too is I know that especially this time of year, because this is the darkest part of the year, is today, the beginning of winter. That
Hola,
for,
Papo.
for a lot of
Saying
people,
hi to my friend.
really really dark and hard time of year, and there's so much going on with family, and for some people this is a really hard time, and but again, remember that as of today, the days are going to get brighter going forward. So
Yeah.
just hang in there, and brighter days ahead. They're coming. They're coming today. Starting today. So yeah. So I'm really excited. I always love the solstice, and it just is one of those, like, I really always feel like it's like starting over and
Mhm.
starting new, and things are starting to roll again and come up, and and the spring stuff is coming, and you know it's always good. Maybe we'll get some snow for Christmas, which is always nice. But
It should be fun.
anyway, yeah.
So,
but I wanted to
un
send love
momento.
and all of our friends.
Saludos a todo el mundo en Monteverde, Papo. Todos mis amigos y toda mi familia en Costa Rica. Saludos. Feliz Navidad. Próspero Año Nuevo.
Yes. Feliz Navidad.
One of my friends from home from Costa Rica is watching the live video, so I just wanted to say hi.
Absolutely. Oh yes. So yeah, Feliz Navidad to all of our friends south of the border and beyond. So anyway, but yeah, loved everybody, and season's greetings, and you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week and weekend, and may Santa be good to you and bring you lots of toys and tools.
Lots of tools, lots of toys.
Yeah,
all the good stuff.
Yep. So yeah, so you can get back to your elf workshop and get things done. But yeah, we're looking forward to joining you guys after the holidays and bringing you a whole new series of classes. And hopefully we've got we're trying to line up some amazing new instructors too going into the new year. So yeah, keep your eyes open for that. And yeah, so we're really excited. Coming up on our second year here of Little Metal Foxes.
No, Little Metal Foxes.
Yeah.
We're dug in.
Yep.
We have our little dens. We have our little warren. We're staying.
Yeah.
We're in it for the long haul.
Indeed. Yeah. I've got my tools. I'm ready to go. So, all right, everybody.
All right.
Happy solstice. Merry Christmas.
Happy solstice, everyone.
Yep. And love you guys. Have a wonderful holiday. Mwah, mwah. Bye.
Bye.